Varadi, Alina Felicia. She's a beekeeper and technician nutritionist in Romania, in Cluj-Napoca. She's very active in the beekeeping and also in apitherapy world. She participated in many Apimundia congresses. She's very passionate about all things related to bees and apitherapy. And she made a kind of PowerPoint, a kind of synthesis on her experience, what she saw in various countries about this system. So one correlation she mentioned here, it's about the fact that the beekeepers have usually a longer life than the rest of the population. And one of the things which may allow this longevity, maybe it's not only the propolis or the royal jelly or the bee pollen or the honey, but why not also the beehive air? Because beehive air contains, as we saw in the morning, many useful components useful for the health. Okay, so beehive air, it's a combination of air plus volatile substances. We discussed this morning about this, including bee pheromones. Okay, and here it's a few ideas about the beehive air circulation. Now, this is important to understand also about the doses of the beehive air and what is happening in the beehive. So we have first of all, a passive ascension of the beehive air due to its heat. Just like any other warm air goes up. Okay, so same happens in the beehive. We know that in the beehive, the bees, they make around the bees, the queens, especially around the brood, about 35 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty hot there inside the beehive, if you want, in comparison with the rest of the environment. Then the beehive air circulation depends on the bee wings ventilation to get fresh air from environment, to decrease the humidity from the air inside the beehive, because when the bees are dehumidifying the nectar from the cells in order to make to mature the honey, they need to dry the nectar. So it's a lot of humidity in the beehive sometimes, so they need to ventilate to get out this humidity. But keep in mind that humidity also absorbs the volatiles. So the volatiles are taken by these water vapors, if you want, not only just flowing in the air. And when it's enough humidity, the volatiles are better transported and also better sent in our nose, in our receptors. Okay, then we have another absorption of the air by human-made ventilators with pollen filters. Then we need to transfer the beehive air through special tubes to the breathing mask and, of course, to the patient, to the nose of the patient. So this one here is first step, like passive ascension of the beehive air due to its natural heat. And we saw quickly in the first part, there are many bee houses and also bee trucks where the beehives, there are many beehives. And when the beehives are open partially, moderately, or slowly, or sometimes more, then of course the beehive air comes into the environment, into that room. And that will be a passive absorption of the air, if you want. And here you see some images from Romania. This bee truck, beehive truck, if you want, used for migratory beekeeping. So the people, they put a truck before here and they can travel wherever they want in Romania or Hungary or other countries around. And you see a lot of bees. And this gentleman, it's a very famous beekeeper in Romania, very active, very dynamic. And he showed us a couple of years ago his beehives and the space. So here's here bee colonies, and the space in between is pretty narrow. It's enough to put a bed to sleep in the night. So the aroma inside this hall, if you want, the bee hall, it's extraordinary. It's very perfumed. Practically here, you do not need a mask, a special device to absorb the air, unless you have a very serious respiratory disease. So we get these volatiles from the beeswax, from the bee larvae, which are here. The bees are ventilating the air here because also they want to dry the honey. See here, it's mature honey. Here is still nectar, like here is still nectar. Nectar means solution of carbohydrates, which has more water than here. So the bees need to ventilate. So more brood, more ventilation, more nectar, more ventilation. Okay, now the volatiles comes, as I said, from a lot of different components from inside the beehive. One major such component source is propolis, and also the beeswax. So this beeswax, which is staying here on top of the frame, it is more exposed to the air, so it releases better the volatiles than the beeswax, which is of course inside the cell. Okay, and also this propolis here on the frames. You see here one of the propolis collectors. There are several types of propolis collectors, and if we have time, we can discuss maybe at the end of the day about propolis collectors, which are the best ones. And you see they are releasing tons of volatiles, this kind of propolis collectors. So it's very good to have such propolis collectors under your Beehive Air device extractor. So you can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 such propolis collectors one on top of each other to increase, if is needed, the volatile richness from inside. Yeah, okay, so here you see as the beeswax covering the frames and the comb, what I explained. Now, another source, like Professor Janko Bozic told us in the morning, of volatiles are coming from the larvae, bee larvae, worker bee larvae, or drone larvae, or even from the queen larvae. And you see here, the wax is here, it's whitish, but the colony starts to put already some propolis. You see here around these circles, small amounts of propolis. And so we get a kind of combination of volatiles from the larvae, the pheromones, and from the beeswax, and from the propolis. Here is another source of volatiles. The beekeepers who are making queen rearing, who are multiplying, are getting more queens, young queens for the families. So these beekeepers, they are making also royal jelly. So you see here, when the cells are naturally made, like from beeswax, they become quickly brownish. So they are rich in polyphenols and more rich in volatiles too. You see here, it's like when you cut here these cells to get out the royal jelly or royal jelly, yes, of course, then this one is full of volatiles too. Also, we have the larvae in their initial stage, very, very young, with the royal jelly here around them. Royal jelly is nourishing the larvae. So royal jelly has also volatiles. It's a special smell. Then you see here an image of a beekeeper who is picking the larvae and transfer the larvae for queen breeding. Now you see here royal jelly and the queen larvae. These are plastic cells. So if you will notice a difference, the plastic cells have less propolis than the natural cells. Here is a natural cell made by wax. It is very easy to make these queen cells from wax. You just heat the wax until it's semi-fluid, and then you can make a model like this. So keep in mind this element, probably because this one is much more solid than this one. So the bees do not need to put more propolis to solidify this area. Okay, then bee venom, it's also a source of volatiles, not so much like the other bee products, but still there are some volatiles in this bee venom. Pollen, fresh pollen also is a good source of volatiles, bee bread too. And here is just one paper, scientific paper, which shows that propolis inhalation reduces allergic airway inflammation in this kind of disease. The test was done in mice, treated mice. And there are many such other papers on the propolis used through inhalation or nebulization in various forms, improving the breathing of the patients. Here is another slide with images from Romania, from bee houses, various bee houses. And you see here a place with lavender, a lot of lavender around. You see this device, a small area, small surface device, which has advantages, but also disadvantages. You see here the windows. The windows are not very good, especially these ones here. Fixed windows are not very good. Okay, so because when the bees are flying inside, when you we need to work on the bees, like here, you need to work on the beehives inside. The bees will fly inside. Sometimes they may have diarrhea. It may happen. Maybe sometimes the diarrhea is coming, even if the colony is strong, it comes from one day to another. And then when they fly inside the house, they will make caca inside, to say it very abruptly. Now, other systems to extract the beehive air. This system, which we will see more information about this system pretty soon. And then the old system, like from Hans Musch and from some other countries, with this small device air extractor. This one, this pyramidal form, it was an initial prototype of the device made in Germany by Bicura system. Okay, here is the system from Romania with a device air extractor outside of the colony. Like here is the beehive, here is the extractor separately, you see, and then it comes the mask to the patient. Okay, one other system from Germany, from Mr. Gerhard Golce. He made a kind of system to heat underneath, and he put here the filter also. Okay, and then here is engineer Togan Ionel from Romania with this system with outside ventilator. This is from Martinescu Adrian. I showed you a bit in the morning. This is the system used a lot in Slovenia with the opening windows, like a mesh window, and the aroma can come easily outside. And here is the ventilator. Here is, okay, disadvantage, let's say, it's that it takes the air from lateral here, or we know that the heat goes naturally upwards. So ideally is to have this system put on top of the colony here to leave enough space here and put it on top, and then to get the tube and then to the patient. Okay. And again, the system from Romania. And now here is Alina Varadi with the old system with the ventilator here. And she made initially the house. And here, it was nice that when I saw this photo at the beginning, many years ago, I told her, okay, Alina, wonderful. It is great that you would like to offer this therapy too, but you made a mistake. Because the house, she made the house made from this special material, which we call in Romanian languages OSB. I don't know the English name for this one. And this one contains formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a kind of a glue used here inside this material, or with the heat when in the summer is very hot, it may be 40 degrees Celsius sometimes. This formaldehyde can go out from the wood, and it is cancer giving, it's carcinogenic. So it is, of course, a big mistake. And she recognized that it was a mistake, and then she completely changed the bee house. So never use as materials of construction this type of material. You need to ask the producer to give you the certificate of quality certificate analysis of the material, and you must be sure that no poisonous or no unwanted chemical substances is inside. Practically, there are very good people specialized in building ecological houses, and they know all the conditions to build an ecological house. Like all materials used in building an ecological house are safe. So they know about the materials. So speak with them and tell them, okay, I would like to make also a bee house, not only a human house, or a bee human house. What are the materials I should use? Okay. Later on, so Alina changed completely the system, and then she had a $1 million idea. She has a very big shop in Cluj-Napoca, which is the third largest city in Romania. So she made a kind of bee house inside her shop, and she put on the corners of each corner of this room. She put this kind of devices. This one is a very good device from Slovenia. Which is now improved technically. Practically inside the room is created an atmosphere full of volatiles. You see here the patients, they can sit here and they breathe from also, these are also Propol steam therapy or Propol air. Propolis, it's also one of the products used here, like this one, you see Propol therapy. Here is another house from Romania, from Mr. Vasile Nașca. He is also here with us in the group today. So he made this house and another bigger house. You see this hexagonal shape. And two places are here for the beds. Now, ideally is to make a house a bit larger, to have enough place in the middle, and to allow the people to sleep between the colonies, not on top of the colonies. I'll tell you more maybe in the next presentations. So it is very nice, very touristically, it's attractive for the tourists to come and sleep on top of the beehives, but it is not a good idea because the body, human body is very, very heavy. And even if you have another protection here on top of the hives, this vibration, this body is like an elephant. So imagine that an elephant sits on top of a bee colony. The bees will not be happy. They feel, they are very, very sensitive. They discuss, they communicate by vibrations. So they do not like when you come and sleep on top of them. I spoke with them, believe me. Okay, here is another bee house from Slovenia, and this guy is from Hungary, the president of Hungarian Apitherapy Society, János Körmendirac. So in Slovenia, they make wonderful houses, bee houses with these paintings on the front part. And here you see a house, big house with, like hotels, they get stars, like 1-star hotel, 2-star hotel, or 5-star hotel. And here is a free bee stars hotel. So instead of putting stars, you can put bees. Okay, other system also from Slovenia. Very nice, very colorful, with these beehives outside for demonstrations, the old style, the traditional one. Okay, see again here. And this is an observational hive, so near the colony, so near the normal bee house. So here you can open these windows, and then you can see inside through glass what are the bees doing inside. Okay, here to natural environment. Here is Alina Varadi. Okay, and here is she relaxing. This is the system with the bed on top of the beehives, which, as I said, I do not prefer this system. This one is okay. You stay near the bees, you respect the bees, you do not stress the bees. And if it's needed, you can make from this one like a bed, and you can have it here, and you stay on the side, and you are okay, the bees are okay. This system from Slovenia, it's also very interesting. It's, as far as I understood this from Mr. Bostian Noc, a very nice idea with the observational hive on top here in the room. And the bees are going outside through the roof, and you see here, this is exit or entrance if you want. The bees goes through the roof and then comes into this observational hive. So the people can see the bees here. And on top of this, as far as I understood, Mr. Noc is using also special sensors, microphones. So the people which are here in the room can hear the bee buzz. Okay, also the system opening here, very, very nice in Slovenia. Sleeping on top of the beehives in Kiev, in Ukraine. There are many, many beekeepers who are using this system. As I said, I hope this idea will change in the future. This is in Russia, this system, also hexagonal. And you'll see tomorrow there is another kind of house like this one near Barcelona in Spain. Now, this one, it's a better system. Like you see, the beehives are here. They are okay, relaxed, protected against the cold, the rain, and so on. And here is the space where you can put the bed and a chair, something to relax, and you can have your intimacy, your privacy, and you can turn left and right, but you do not disturb the bees directly. Okay, here is some educational panels. You see here the insect zoo with special tubes, especially environment for the small bees, for the solitary bees, wild bees, which are very important for the environment too, for the biodiversity. Okay, here are some other photos. This one is in Poland with several such houses. Okay. There's a bee museum. The largest bee museum in Europe is in Poland. Okay, and yes, and here you see it's a bit better system. Like the bee colonies, the beehives are under this solid part of the wood. So the people, you see also here, if you look carefully, this one is the part where the human beings, Homo sapiens, is sleeping. And here are the beehives, but there is a big gap between the wood of the bed and the bee colonies. And another very, very, very good idea, this is one of the best ideas related to the bee houses. If you look carefully, maybe it is not very easy to see now. Oh, here is better maybe to see. Yes, it's these beehives are movable. So remember that I said that the previous hives, when you want to work on them, the bees will come inside, but there is a system where you can push the beehive and it goes outside. And when it goes outside, like you can move this one inside or outside. Now here the beekeeper is outside the bee house. So he just pull the beehive out. Then he can work relaxed and it's no problem. If you will work here inside, the bees will fly inside the house. So you need to push the beehives outside and you work outside with no problems. Another detail here, you see the grid here is full of propolis, which is very, very good for the beehive air too. Okay, so you see the system here. The bee house is not very big, but the beehives which are here, this is one box, this is another box. They are big boxes, and inside are 2 colonies, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can pull out the beehive when you want to work on it outside. And if you have customers, you can push them inside. Okay. Okay, it's the system from Austria. We showed you before. And now here is very, very interesting idea from Austrian, from this family, from Hüttner, about treating the horses with beehive air. So also the camels can be treated with beehive air. So you need, of course, a special mask, a tube, and you will connect to this tube more bee colonies, not only one colony like is done for the human beings. And this is this gentleman, Friedrich Heinbuch. He wrote a book about this system, Pharmacy of Bees for Horses. And hopefully we'll be able to order this book too. Okay, and here are the advantages and disadvantages of these systems. And let me read to you the advantages of the beehive houses. A possibility of attraction for the direct sale of the beehive products. So you are giving the beehive air, maybe sometimes free of charge, but you can sell beehive products. Okay, Braimauch, please close your microphone. Okay, second is you can attract new potential customers through contact with your beekeeper. It is a form of transmission of information about the life of bees and hive products. It is what we call API education. It will stimulate the consumers to get more bee products, okay? And also you can give courses on, for example, tasting course for honey and other bee products, or even apitherapy courses on beekeeping courses, medicinal beekeeping courses, and so on. The beehive air is similar but better than the air bus, like from saline, mountain, or marine, like aerosols. It represents naturally rich aerosols with bee molecules and particles obtained by moving the wings of the bees. Okay, so personal experience, she got good results by inhaling the beehive air for 20-30 minutes. Headache was out. And in some cases respond very well, even in very severe cases like lung cancer. And we saw the presentation of Professor Niraldo Paolino. He showed that some components from beehive air are anti-tumoral. Okay. Okay, some more things here. And Alina is a big fan of zeolite. Zeolite, it's one interesting product which helps the health of the bee colony. And conclusions: build a beehive house on functional principles, help the bees with gentle treatments, produce clean beehives products in a healthy apiary, and enjoy your healthy life. And you have here, you can write down the email address of Alina. She loves to give also lectures, conferences in several countries, so you can invite her for such lectures on direct events. Alina@casabio.ro.